Tonight, we travel back into a much quieter world. A world where the first light of morning touched fields beside a broad river. A world where people woke before sunrise and spent long days working with their hands. A world built not from stone alone, but from earth itself. As the night settles around you, imagine a gentle darkness over ancient Egypt. The stars hang above the Nile. The river moves slowly through the land, carrying cool air across sleeping villages. Mud brick houses stand close together. Small lamps flicker behind doorways. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks once and then falls silent. Most people are asleep. But before long, the first workers will wake. And among them will be the people whose task is simple, ordinary, and surprisingly exhausting. Their job is to make bricks. Not the hard-fired bricks of later times. Not stone blocks for great monuments. These are mud bricks. Bricks made from river mud, chopped straw, water, and patient labor. Thousands upon thousands of them. Tonight, we will spend a day among these workers. We will feel the cool mud beneath bare feet. We will stand beneath the growing heat of the Egyptian sun. We will carry baskets, stir wet earth, and watch rows of fresh bricks drying in the light. And slowly, quietly, we will discover what it felt like to mix mud bricks all day. The day begins before sunrise. The air is cool enough to feel pleasant against the skin. This coolness will not last. Everyone knows that. In a few hours, the heat will settle over the land like a heavy blanket. For now, though, there is a moment of calm. A worker opens his eyes inside a small mud brick house. The room is simple. The walls are rough but sturdy. A reed mat lies on the floor. Nearby, other family members are still asleep. Outside, darkness remains over the village. The worker sits up slowly. His body already carries yesterday's tiredness. His shoulders feel stiff. His legs ache faintly. The muscles of his back remind him of the many loads he lifted the day before. This feeling is familiar. Most adults in ancient Egypt know this feeling well. Life is full of physical labor. Fields must be planted. Canals must be cleared. Boats must be loaded. Grain must be carried. Mud must be mixed. Work is as common as breathing. The worker rises quietly and steps outside. The village is beginning to wake. A few small lamps glow near doorways. Soft voices drip through the darkness. Somewhere nearby, a woman grinds grain for bread. The steady sound of stone against stone creates a slow rhythm in the morning air. The smell of baking bread begins to spread. It is a comforting smell. One of the most familiar smells in the ancient world. Soon, more people emerge from their homes. Some head toward the fields. Others walk toward workshops. A few make their way toward the river. The brick workers gather gradually. Nobody rushes. The day ahead is long. Everyone understands this. There is no need to hurry toward exhaustion. As the eastern horizon begins to brighten, the workers start walking. Their sandals press softly into dusty paths. The village slowly disappears behind them. Ahead lies the river. The Nile is still calm beneath the early light. Its surface reflects pale colors from the awakening sky. Birds move through the reeds. Small boats drift near the shore. Fishermen prepare their nets. Everything feels peaceful. But work has already begun. Near the riverbank, large areas of earth have been chosen for brick making. This is where the raw materials wait. The Nile provides nearly everything needed. The river floods each year. When the flood waters retreat, they leave behind rich dark mud. This mud is valuable. Farmers love it because crops grow well in it. Brick makers love it because it can become walls, homes, storage buildings, workshops, and even parts of temples. The workers arrive at the muddy ground. Some carry baskets. Others carry simple wooden tools. The first task is collecting mud. This sounds easy. But after hours of labor, even simple tasks become difficult. Workers step into damp earth near the river. Their feet sink slightly. The mud feels cool. For a few moments, this coolness is welcome. Hands scoop thick mud into baskets. The baskets grow heavier with each load. Soon they must be carried to mixing areas nearby. Back and forth the workers go. Again and again. The same movement repeats. Lift. Carry. Dump. Return. Lift. Carry. Dump. Return. The rhythm begins before sunrise and continues through much of the day. As dawn spreads across the landscape, more workers join the effort. Voices remain soft. Most people save their energy. Conversation happens in short exchanges. Someone comments on the weather. Someone asks about a family member. Someone mentions the river level. Simple words. Ordinary thoughts. The kind of conversations shared by people who work side by side every day. The piles of mud gradually grow larger. Nearby, bundles of straw wait to be used. The straw is important. Without it, the bricks can crack while drying. Mixed into the mud, the fibers help hold everything together. The workers know this from experience. Many learned the process as children. Some grew up watching parents perform the same tasks. Knowledge passes quietly from one generation to another. Not through books. Not through long lessons. Mostly through observation. A child watches. A teenager helps. An adult continues. The cycle repeats. The sky brightens further. Golden light spreads across the river. The day has fully begun. Now comes one of the most difficult parts. Mixing. Large piles of mud receive water and straw. The ingredients must become one smooth mixture. There are several ways to do this. Sometimes workers use simple tools. Often they use their feet. The workers step into the mixture. Cool mud rises around their ankles. Then around their calves. Slowly they begin trampling. Back and forth. Round and round. The motion continues endlessly. Feet press downward. Mud squeezes upward. Straw disappears beneath the surface. The mixture thickens. At first the mud feels cool. Pleasant even. But after hours of standing, lifting, and pushing, comfort fades. Muscles grow tired. Feet become sore. The same movements repeat hundreds of times. The body begins to feel every step. Yet the work continues. The sun rises higher. Its warmth becomes noticeable. Workers glance toward the sky. Everyone understands what is coming. The hottest hours remain ahead. For now, they focus on the mixture. The texture must be right. Too wet and the bricks will lose shape. Too dry and they become difficult to mold. Experience matters. Older workers can often judge the mixture with a single glance. They bend down. Pick up a handful. Squeeze it. Feel its weight. Then nod quietly. The work goes on. Around them, ancient Egypt slowly awakens. Boats move along the Nile. Farmers guide animals toward fields. Children carry water jars. Merchants prepare goods for market. Life spreads outward in every direction. Yet here beside the river, the world feels smaller. The workers focus on earth, water, straw, and effort. Hour after hour. The sun continues its climb. And the mud brick day is only beginning. The morning grows brighter. The soft coolness that greeted the workers before sunrise has almost disappeared now. A gentle warmth settles over the riverbank. The Nile still glimmers beside them, but even the water seems quieter beneath the strengthening sun. The workers continue their steady rhythm. Their feet sink into the mixing pits. Mud presses between their toes. Straw brushes against their ankles. Every few moments, someone adds another basket of river mud. Someone else pours water from a clay jar. Another worker drags a bundle of chopped straw across the ground and scatters it into the mixture. Nothing happens quickly. Nothing is meant to happen quickly. Good bricks require patience. The workers know this. Their parents knew it. Their grandparents knew it. In a land where buildings are expected to stand for many years, rushing is rarely helpful. The mud must be mixed thoroughly. The straw must be spread evenly. Every handful should feel nearly the same. So the workers keep moving. Round and round. Step after step. The sounds around them become familiar. The squish of wet earth. The rustle of straw. The distant calls of birds near the reeds. The occasional splash from the river. The creak of a wooden cart somewhere nearby. These sounds blend together into the background of daily life. No one pays much attention to them anymore. For the workers, these sounds are as ordinary as breathing. A young man wipes sweat from his forehead. He has only recently begun working with the brick makers full-time. His body is still adapting to the labor. His shoulders ache more than those of the older workers. His feet grow tired sooner. By midday, he will feel every muscle in his body. But he keeps working. Nearby, an older worker moves with slow confidence. His movements are economical. Nothing is wasted. Every step serves a purpose. Years of experience have taught him how to conserve energy. He knows when to bend. He knows when to lift. He knows how to shift his weight so his back carries less strain. Even so, age brings its own burdens. His knees hurt more than they once did. His hands are rough and stiff. The work has shaped his body over decades. The younger workers sometimes watch him. Not because he is important. Not because he holds authority. Simply because experience is valuable. Knowledge often belongs to ordinary people. A man who has mixed mud for 20 years understands things no scribe could easily record. He understands texture. He understands timing. He understands how mud behaves under different conditions. These lessons live in his hands. The sun climbs higher. Soon the mixing pits are ready. Now another stage begins. Wooden molds wait nearby. Simple frames. Nothing elaborate. Just rectangular shapes used again and again. A worker kneels beside a mound of prepared mud. He scoops a heavy portion into a mold. His hands press firmly. The mixture must reach every corner. Air pockets are unwelcome. Cracks can begin there later. The worker smooths the top. Then he carefully lifts the mold away. A fresh brick remains behind. Soft. Wet. Fragile. For a moment it looks almost insignificant. Yet thousands of homes depend on such bricks. Storage buildings depend on them. Workshops depend on them. Walls depend on them. Entire villages rise from these humble shapes. One by one, the fresh bricks appear. Rows begin forming across open ground. Straight lines stretch beneath the growing sunlight. Each brick must dry slowly. Workers move carefully among them. A misplaced foot could ruin several hours of labor. Attention matters. Not intense concentration. Just steady awareness. The kind that develops naturally through repetition. More molds are filled. More bricks are placed. The rows lengthen. By now the sun has begun to reveal its true strength. Shadows shrink. The air grows heavier. Sweat darkens clothing. Faces shine beneath the sunlight. The workers pause occasionally for water. Clay jars stand in shaded areas whenever shade can be found. The water is not cold. Cold water is rare. But it offers relief all the same. A worker lifts a jar. Takes several careful drinks. Wipes his mouth. Returns to work. No long rest follows. The day is too busy. The bricks must be finished. Nearby, a donkey cart arrives carrying additional straw. The animal moves slowly along the dusty path. Its hooves stir pale clouds from the ground. Dust hangs briefly in the air before settling again. The driver climbs down. A few workers help unload the bundles. The smell of dry straw fills the area. It mixes with the scent of wet earth and river water. Together they create a smell that belongs entirely to this place. A smell known by every brick maker. A smell carried home on clothes and skin. A smell that lingers long after sunset. As the morning continues, the landscape changes. Heat begins to shimmer above distant ground. The riverbank appears softer around the edges. The sky remains clear and enormous. Clouds are scarce. The sun dominates everything. Workers instinctively narrow their eyes. Some wrap cloth around their heads for protection. Others simply endure. The heat is part of life. Everyone complains about it sometimes. Everyone suffers beneath it. Yet nobody expects it to disappear. This is Egypt. The sun is a companion as constant as the Nile. Across the river, fields stretch into the distance. Farmers move among them. From far away they appear small. Tiny figures against a vast landscape. They too are working. Planting. Harvesting. Digging. Carrying. Nearly everyone is laboring somewhere. The entire civilization rests upon countless ordinary tasks. Grain does not appear without farmers. Boats do not sail without builders. Records do not exist without scribes. Walls do not stand without brick makers. The workers may never think about these larger connections. Most are focused on the next basket. The next mold. The next row of bricks. That is enough. Daily life rarely leaves room for grand reflections. Around mid-morning, a faint breeze drifts across the river. Workers notice immediately. Even the smallest breeze feels precious now. For a few moments, the moving air cools damp skin. The relief is brief but welcome. Someone smiles. Someone else lifts his face toward the wind. Then the breeze fades. The heat returns. Work continues. The rows of drying bricks now cover a wide area. Their surfaces slowly begin changing. The outer layers lose moisture first. Tiny cracks sometimes appear. Workers inspect them carefully. Most are harmless. Others signal problems. Those bricks may need to be remade. Nobody likes discovering a damaged brick. Each one represents effort. Hours of effort. Mud collected. Straw carried. Water transported. Muscles strained. To lose that labor is disappointing. Still, imperfections happen. The workers accept this. Perfection belongs to dreams. Reality belongs to earth and sweat. The sun reaches higher still. Now the brightest part of the day approaches. The heat presses down from above and rises from below. The ground itself seems warm. The air barely moves. Voices grow quieter. Conversations become shorter. Energy is precious now. Most workers save their breath. They focus on movement. Lift. Press. Shape. Carry. Place. Repeat. The rhythm becomes almost hypnotic. The body takes over. The mind drifts. A worker shaping bricks may find himself thinking about home. About bread waiting later. About his children. About repairs needed on a wall. About a fishing trip planned after work someday. Simple thoughts. Small thoughts. Comforting thoughts. The kind that accompany repetitive labor. Hours pass this way. The sun moves steadily across the sky. The river glitters beside them. Fresh bricks continue appearing in long rows. And little by little, beneath the endless Egyptian sunlight, a village's future walls take shape from mud, straw, water, and patient human hands. Far above, a hawk circles lazily through the bright sky. Below, the workers continue their ancient task. And the hottest hours of the day are still waiting ahead. By the time the sun reaches its highest place in the sky, the world seems to move more slowly. The brightness is almost overwhelming. Light spills across the river, across the fields, across the drying rows of bricks. Every surface reflects heat. Every stone feels warm to the touch. Even the air itself seems heavier now. The workers feel it in their shoulders. They feel it in their backs. They feel it in the slow pull of tired muscles. The morning's energy has faded. What remains is endurance. The ability to continue. The ability to place one foot after another. The ability to finish the next task even when the body would rather rest. For many workers in ancient Egypt, this quiet endurance is among the most important skills they possess. Strength matters. Experience matters. But endurance carries a person through the longest days. Near the mixing pits, a few workers kneel beneath a simple shelter made from wooden poles and woven reeds. The shade is thin. It does not block all the sunlight. Yet it offers enough relief to feel precious. A man sits with a clay cup in his hands. His face shines with sweat. Tiny lines around his eyes reveal years spent outdoors beneath the Egyptian sun. He drinks slowly. Nobody rushes these moments. Water must last. Energy must last. The day is far from over. Nearby, another worker unwraps a small piece of bread. The bread is simple, dense and filling. Made from grain ground earlier that morning. Perhaps there is a small onion beside it. Perhaps a few dates. Nothing elaborate. Meals for laborers are often modest. But after hours of work, even simple food tastes satisfying. The smell of bread drifts through the warm air. For a moment, it mixes with the scent of drying mud. The combination might seem unusual to someone from another age. Yet here it feels entirely natural. This is the smell of daily life. The smell of work. The smell of ordinary people building their world one brick at a time. The rest period remains brief. Soon the workers rise again. They stretch sore legs. Roll stiff shoulders. And return to their tasks. The drying bricks need attention. Some have begun to harden enough that they can be moved. This is delicate work. A brick that seems sturdy may still be fragile inside. Workers bend carefully. Hands slide beneath the edges. The bricks are lifted slowly. Then carried to another area where they can continue drying. Again and again the movement repeats. Lift. Carry. Place. Return. Lift. Carry. Place. Return. The body learns the rhythm. The mind settles into it. Hours of repetitive labor create a strange kind of calm. The work is difficult. Yet it is predictable. Each task follows the last. There are no surprises. Only the steady movement of time beneath the sun. A young worker glances toward the Nile. The river remains beautiful even during the hottest hours. Its water catches the sunlight in thousands of tiny flashes. Along the shore, reeds sway gently whenever a breeze appears. Birds stand in shallow water searching for food. Boats drift in the distance. From here, they seem almost motionless. The river never truly rests. Day and night it continues its journey. Many workers find comfort in its presence. The Nile provides water. It provides fish. It provides fertile soil. And without that rich river mud, there would be no bricks. The workers may not think about this every day. Yet the connection is always there. The river and the people depend upon one another. Across the landscape, countless villages exist because of this relationship. Countless families. Countless meals. Countless ordinary lives. As the afternoon begins, the heat reaches its most demanding point. The air hardly moves. The horizon shimmers. Dust hangs motionless above distant roads. Workers feel sweat running down their necks. Their clothing sticks to their skin. Their hands become coated with a mixture of mud, dust, and effort. Some workers wrap damp cloth around their heads. Others pour small amounts of water over their wrists. Every little bit helps. Yet no one expects comfort. Comfort is not part of the day's work. The goal is simply to continue. Nearby, an older worker pauses beside a row of bricks. He examines them carefully. His eyes move slowly from one brick to the next. Most look good. Straight edges. Smooth surfaces. Even drying. Years of experience allow him to notice details others might miss. A slight crack. An uneven corner. A section drying too quickly. Small things. Yet important things. A good brick may survive many seasons. A poor one may fail much sooner. The older worker runs a rough hand across a brick's surface. The outer layer feels warm from the sun. Almost hot. He nods quietly and moves on. No words are necessary. The bricks are progressing well. Not far away, a pair of workers load partially dried bricks onto a wooden sled. The sled scrapes softly across the ground. Its sound blends with the distant calls of birds and the occasional voice drifting across the work site. The workers move slowly. Each brick carries weight. A single brick is manageable. Many bricks together become exhausting. Still, the work continues. One load after another. The afternoon stretches onward. Time feels different beneath constant labor. Hours pass almost unnoticed. The sun moves. The shadows change. The rows of bricks slowly grow. The workers continue. Somewhere beyond the worksite, life unfolds throughout the village. Women bake bread in clay ovens. Children carry water jars. Scribes sit in shaded rooms recording information onto sheets of papyrus. Merchants arrange goods beneath market shelters. Potters shape wet clay on simple wheels. Fishermen inspect nets beside the river. Each person follows routines shaped by the needs of the community. Most people will never become famous. Most names will eventually be forgotten. Yet their work fills every corner of the ancient world. The great structures remembered by history depend entirely upon ordinary people whose stories were rarely written down. The brick makers are among them. Their hands leave marks across generations. Walls rise because of them. Homes stand because of them. Storehouses protect grain because of them. And yet most pass through life quietly. Known mainly by family, friends, and neighbors. As the afternoon continues, some workers begin humming softly while they work. The sounds are low and gentle. Not performances. Just familiar melodies carried through long hours. The rhythms match the labor. Steady. Unhurried. Comforting. Others listen without joining. The music drifts across the warm air and fades. Then returns again. Like the river. Like the wind. Like memory itself. A flock of birds rises suddenly from the reeds. Their wings flash bright against the blue sky. Several workers glance upward. Only for a moment. Then attention returns to the bricks. There is always another task waiting. Another row to move. Another mold to fill. Another load to carry. The sun slowly begins its descent. The change is subtle at first. Almost impossible to notice. Yet the workers feel it before they see it. The light softens slightly. The shadows lengthen. The air loses a small fraction of its intensity. Relief remains distant, but it is coming. Everyone senses it. The hardest hours are passing. The day is gradually turning toward evening. Still, much work remains. Fresh mud must be prepared for tomorrow. Tools must be cleaned. Bricks must be inspected. Materials must be organized. Ancient labor rarely ends the moment the sun begins to lower. There is always one more task. Always one more responsibility. The workers understand this. So they continue moving through the afternoon. Steady as the river. Patient as the earth beneath their feet. And as the sunlight slowly changes from brilliant white to a softer golden glow, the vast fields of drying mud bricks seem to shine quietly beneath the Egyptian sky, each one holding within it the effort of countless footsteps, countless lifted baskets, and countless hours spent beneath the endless sun. The afternoon slowly leans toward evening. The change arrives so gently that nobody notices it all at once. The sun remains high enough to warm every surface, yet its harshest edge has begun to soften. The light now carries a richer color. Gold slowly replaces white. Long shadows start stretching across the ground. For the workers, this is a welcome sight. The day's labor is not finished. But the most difficult heat is beginning to loosen its grip. A faint breeze moves across the river. It travels through the reeds first. Then across the open ground where rows of drying bricks cover the earth. The workers feel it against their skin. Some close their eyes for a brief moment. The breeze is weak. It lasts only a short time. Yet after hours beneath the sun, even the smallest breath of moving air feels valuable. The work site looks different now. Thousands of bricks rest in neat lines. Some were made days ago. Others were shaped this morning. Still others have only recently been placed on the ground. Together they form a patchwork of earth-colored rectangles stretching across the drying fields. A visitor arriving from far away might be surprised by the sight. There are no towering monuments here. No grand ceremonies. No shining treasures. Only workers. Mud. Straw. And patience. Yet this simple place helps create much of the world around it. Every village needs walls. Every family needs shelter. Every workshop needs protection from wind and rain. The humble brick carries enormous responsibility. A worker bends to inspect a row near the edge of the drying area. His knees ache as he lowers himself. Standing again requires effort. He feels the weight of the day in every part of his body. The soreness has settled deep into his muscles. His shoulders burn faintly. His hands feel stiff. His back reminds him of every basket he carried since dawn. This is familiar. By now, most workers no longer think much about discomfort. The aches become part of the background. Not pleasant. Not unbearable. Simply present. A constant companion during long years of labor. Nearby, several younger workers load dried bricks onto a wooden sled. The bricks are much stronger now. The sun has removed much of their moisture. Each one feels firm beneath the hands. The edges are sharp. The surfaces are rough. Dust clings to the fingers after every lift. The sled gradually fills. One worker counts softly as he stacks. Not because anyone has instructed him to. Simply because counting helps maintain rhythm. Numbers create order. Order makes the work feel smaller. 100 bricks become 10 groups of 10. The mind finds comfort in such things. The sled begins moving. Two workers pull while another guides from behind. The wood scrapes against the dry ground. A low sound follows them across the work site. Slow. Steady. Unhurried. Like nearly everything else in this world. The bricks will be stored nearby until builders need them. Perhaps they will become part of a family home. Perhaps a storage building. Perhaps a workshop. The workers will probably never know. Once the bricks leave the drying grounds, their journey continues elsewhere. A wall rises. A doorway appears. A roof gains support. Life moves forward. The makers rarely see the finished result. They simply prepare the materials and trust that others will use them well. The afternoon light grows warmer. Birds become more active along the riverbank. Their calls drift across the air. Some search among the reeds. Others skim low over the water. A fisherman stands near his boat, checking a net. His own day has followed a different rhythm. Yet he, too, depends on patience. Patience seems woven into every corner of ancient life. The river teaches patience. The crops teach patience. Brick making teaches patience. Nothing important happens instantly. Everything requires time. The workers continue organizing the drying fields. Some bricks need turning. This allows moisture to leave evenly. The process is simple but repetitive. A worker bends. Lifts a brick. Rotates it. Places it back down. Then moves to the next. And the next. And the next. By itself, the task seems easy. But after hundreds of repetitions, every movement becomes noticeable. The body keeps careful records of effort. Each lift leaves a mark. Each bend consumes a little energy. By evening, those small costs add together. As the sun lowers further, the color of the landscape begins to change. The river reflects bronze and gold. The mud bricks glow softly. Even the dust along the roads appears warmer. The village in the distance becomes more visible. Thin columns of cooking smoke rise into the air. Families are beginning preparations for the evening meal. Bread bakes in ovens. Vegetables are chopped. Water jars are carried home. Children return from errands. Goats and donkeys settle near their shelters. The day slowly folds itself toward night. The workers notice these signs. Everyone does. The approach of evening brings quiet satisfaction. Not excitement. Not celebration. Simply relief. A long day is gradually ending. One worker pauses and stretches. His joints crack softly. He rolls his shoulders. The motion feels wonderful. Nearby, another worker laughs quietly after nearly dropping a brick. The laugh is brief. Gentle. Tired. The kind of laugh that appears near the end of a demanding day. Even exhaustion cannot completely remove small moments of warmth. The older workers smile. They have seen the same thing countless times. Every generation learns similar lessons. How to carry weight. How to pace themselves. How to endure heat. How to appreciate the first cool breeze of evening. The wisdom of labor often comes through experience rather than words. As shadows lengthen further, the work site begins to calm. The most urgent tasks have been completed. The bricks are arranged properly. The tools have been gathered. The mixing pits stand quiet now. The mud inside them rests beneath the fading sunlight. Looking at them, it is hard to imagine the constant movement that filled them earlier. The stomping feet. The lifting baskets. The splashing water. Now everything is still. Only a few ripples remain where moisture settles slowly into the earth. A worker washes his hands near the river. The water feels cool compared to the air. Mud slips away from his skin. Small streams of brown swirl briefly before disappearing into the current. Others do the same. Hands. Arms. Faces. The river removes part of the day's labor. Not all of it. The soreness remains. The tiredness remains. But the cooling water offers comfort. The Nile has been providing comfort for thousands of years. Some things never change. The sky begins showing hints of evening color. Pale orange appears near the horizon. Above it, soft shades of pink emerge. The workers notice but rarely stop to admire the view. Beautiful skies are common here. The rhythm of work continues regardless. Yet somewhere deep inside, many carry an appreciation they never speak aloud. The river. The breeze. The changing light. These quiet companions accompany them every day. A younger worker looks across the fields of finished bricks. The rows seem endless in the golden light. Thousands of shapes stretching toward the horizon. Each one touched by human hands. Each one carrying a small piece of someone's effort. The sight creates a feeling difficult to describe. Not pride exactly. Not satisfaction alone. Perhaps something simpler. The quiet knowledge that the day's work has produced something real. Something useful. Something that will remain after the workers themselves have gone home. The air cools little by little. The heat of the day begins retreating into the earth. The workers move more slowly now. Not because they are lazy. Because their bodies have reached the natural limits of exhaustion. Every movement is measured. Every step deliberate. The day's energy has been spent wisely. There is no reason to hurry. Evening will arrive soon enough. And with it will come bread, rest, family conversations, and the welcome darkness of an Egyptian night. But for now, the workers remain beside the drying fields, surrounded by rows of sun-baked bricks and the fading golden light, carrying the last quiet beauties of the day beneath a sky that is slowly preparing for sunset. The sun drifts lower. Its light becomes softer with every passing moment. What was once a bright and demanding day now begins to feel gentler. The fierce heat that ruled the afternoon slowly retreats across the desert. Warmth remains in the ground, in the bricks, and in the walls of nearby buildings, but the air itself grows easier to breathe. The workers welcome this change. For hours they have lived beneath the open sky. For hours they have bent, lifted, carried, shaped, and stacked. Now the evening approaches like a quiet reward. Not a celebration. Not a feast. Simply a gradual release from labor. The drying grounds look beautiful in the fading light. Long shadows stretch between the rows of bricks. The earth glows in shades of gold, amber, and soft brown. Even the simplest objects seem transformed. A wooden mold casts a delicate shadow. A clay water jar catches the last sunlight. A basket resting on its side appears almost peaceful. The workers continue tidying the site. Tools must be stored properly. The molds are gathered together. Any remaining straw is covered to protect it from moisture during the night. Nothing can be wasted. Materials require effort to collect. Carelessness creates extra work tomorrow. A man lifts a wooden mold that has been used hundreds of times. Its corners are worn smooth from years of handling. His father may have used it before him. Perhaps even an uncle or older brother. Objects in the ancient world often remain in service for many years. People repair things whenever possible. Wood is valuable. Tools are valuable. Nothing is discarded lightly. The worker brushes away dried mud from the mold's edges. Tiny flakes fall to the ground. The smell of earth still clings to the wood. He sets it carefully beside the others. Nearby, several workers inspect bricks that were made earlier in the week. These bricks have nearly finished drying. Their surfaces feel hard beneath the fingers. The warmth of the day remains trapped inside them. When a worker places his hand against one, he can still feel the sun. It is as if the brick has been quietly storing daylight. Soon these bricks will leave the drying grounds. Builders will carry them away. Walls will rise. Rooms will take shape. Roofs will find support. Families will sleep safely behind structures made possible by countless days like this one. The workers rarely witness those later moments. They are already busy creating the next batch. Still, they understand the purpose of their labor. A brickmaker knows that every finished brick becomes part of someone's life. Somewhere in the future, a child may lean against a wall built from these very bricks. A family may gather for a meal inside a room supported by them. A merchant may store grain behind them. A craftsman may work in their shelter. The bricks quietly serve people for years. As evening settles further across the landscape, activity begins changing throughout the surrounding countryside. The fields grow quieter. Farmers guide animals home. Small boats return toward shore. Fishermen secure ropes and sort their catches. Along dusty roads, travelers hurry to reach villages before darkness arrives. The world shifts from labor toward rest. A flock of birds crosses the sky. Their dark shapes pass through the golden light. For a moment they seem almost motionless. Then they disappear toward the river marshes. The workers watch briefly. Only briefly. Years of outdoor labor teach people to notice nature without stopping their work. Birds pass. Clouds move. The river rises and falls. Life continues. A young worker kneels beside a clay jar. Only a small amount of water remains inside. He tips the jar carefully. The final cool drops slide into his cup. He drinks slowly. The water tastes slightly of clay from the vessel. A familiar taste. Most water in ancient Egypt carries that flavor. It is ordinary. Comforting even. He wipes his forehead and stands. His muscles protest immediately. The day's labor has settled deep into his body. Every step reminds him how long he has been working. His legs feel heavy. His shoulders ache. His hands are sore from gripping wet mud, baskets, and bricks. Yet beneath the exhaustion lies another feeling. Relief. The knowledge that the hardest part of the day is finished. This feeling spreads quietly among all the workers. Nobody announces it. Nobody needs to. It arrives naturally as the sun approaches the horizon. The sky continues changing color. Orange deepens into copper. Copper softens into rose. The river reflects every shade. Its surface appears smoother now. Calmer. The evening breeze strengthens slightly. Not enough to raise dust. Just enough to move gently across tired faces. Several workers lift their heads toward it. The air smells different now. Cooler. The scent of warm earth remains, but other smells begin appearing. Cooking fires. Fresh bread. Smoke from ovens. The distant aroma of evening meals. These smells drift from the village beyond the drying grounds. They travel slowly through the air. The workers recognize them immediately. For many, those scents signal the true end of the workday. Soon families will gather. Meals will be shared. Stories from the day will be exchanged. Children will ask questions. Neighbors will speak quietly outside their homes. Simple routines repeated countless times across countless evenings. A group of workers begins carrying the final tools towards storage shelters. The pace is slow. Nobody rushes now. The urgency of daylight has passed. One man balances several wooden molds against his shoulder. Another carries baskets. A third drags a small sled containing equipment. Their shadows stretch far across the ground. The low sun turns every movement into a long silhouette. The drying fields themselves seem endless. Rows upon rows of bricks catch the last light. From a distance, they resemble waves frozen in earth. Thousands of small shapes waiting patiently for tomorrow. Waiting for builders. Waiting for walls. Waiting for homes. The workers pause one final time near the river. Some wash mud from their feet. Others rinse their hands. The cool water feels wonderful after the long day. One worker splashes water onto his face. The sensation sends a pleasant chill through his tired body. For a few moments, he simply stands there, listening. The river makes gentle sounds against the shore. Reeds whisper in the breeze. Birds call from distant marshes. The noise of labor has faded. The quiet of evening is taking its place. Ancient Egypt often becomes most peaceful during this hour. The heat loosens its grip. The air grows softer. The world exhales. The worker watches the river. Its surface reflects the first hints of approaching dusk. Soon stars will appear overhead. Soon lamps will glow inside village homes. Soon families will settle into the slower rhythm of night. But not yet. For now, evening still belongs to the fading sunlight. The workers gather their remaining belongings. A cloth. A cup. A small bundle of food. Simple possessions carried through ordinary days. Then, one by one, they begin walking home. Their sandals press into familiar paths. Dust rises around their feet. The road leading back to the village feels longer at the end of a workday. Not because the distance has changed. Because exhaustion changes everything. Each step carries the weight of hours spent beneath the sun. Yet the walk home has its own comfort. No more bricks need lifting. No more mud needs mixing. No more baskets need carrying. The day's work remains behind them. Ahead wait quieter things. The workers move slowly through the evening light while the river glows beside them. Behind them, thousands of drying mud bricks rest beneath the darkening sky. Before them, warm meals and familiar homes await. And above it all, the ancient Egyptian evening spreads gently across the land, wrapping fields, riverbanks, workshops, and villages in a peaceful golden calm that seems to invite every tired soul toward rest. The road home feels different from the road that led to work. In the morning, the workers walked beneath darkness and anticipation. Their bodies were rested. The air was cool. The village was only beginning to wake. Now the day rests heavily upon them. Their muscles carry the memory of every basket lifted, every brick shaped, every step taken through wet mud. Yet there is comfort in this tiredness. It is the familiar tiredness of a completed day. A tiredness that comes from effort rather than worry. The workers follow dusty paths toward the village. The sun has almost reached the horizon now. Its light spreads across the land in long golden bands. Palm trees cast graceful shadows. The river glows like polished metal. The distant fields appear softer than they did beneath the harsh brightness of noon. Everything seems calmer. Everything seems slower. The workers do not speak much. Most save their energy. A few exchange quiet words. Simple observations. Comments about tomorrow's work. Questions about family members. Thoughts about the weather. Nothing urgent. Nothing dramatic. The evening encourages gentleness. As they approach the village, more sounds begin reaching them. A donkey brays somewhere behind a wall. Children laugh while playing near a doorway. A woman calls to a family member carrying water. The sound of grinding grain drifts from an open courtyard. Life continues in every corner. The workday may be ending for the brick makers, but many tasks remain for others. Ancient villages rarely become completely still before darkness. There is always food to prepare. Animals to care for. Repairs to finish. Water to collect. The routines of survival continue until night fully arrives. The workers enter the village. The familiar sight brings a quiet feeling of relief. Mud brick homes stand close together along narrow paths. Many of these homes look much like the bricks drying beside the river. The workers understand exactly how such walls were made. They know how the mud was mixed. They know how the straw was added. They know how long the bricks spent drying beneath the sun. When they touch a wall, they are touching labor very much like their own. A worker passes a small house where fresh bread cools on a woven tray. The smell fills the evening air. Warm grain. Wood smoke. A hint of sweetness. After a day of physical labor, the aroma seems almost impossible to ignore. His stomach responds immediately. He smiles faintly. Soon enough, he will eat. For now, he continues home. Children run through the village paths. Unlike the adults, they seem untouched by exhaustion. Their energy appears endless. Some chase one another around corners. Others carry small sticks or toys made from simple materials. A few pause to watch the returning workers. The children know these men. They are fathers, brothers, uncles, neighbors, ordinary members of the community. The workers wave occasionally. A tired smile appears here and there. Then the adults continue walking. Their minds are already turning toward rest. One worker reaches his home. The doorway is low. He bends slightly as he enters. Inside, the air feels cooler than outside. The thick mud brick walls help keep out some of the day's heat. Not all of it. The warmth of the afternoon still lingers. But the room offers welcome shade. His family is already preparing the evening meal. A clay lamp waits nearby for darkness. A few woven mats rest against the wall. Simple possessions fill the room. Nothing extravagant. Yet everything serves a purpose. In much of ancient Egypt, practicality shapes daily life. Objects are valued because they are useful. The worker sits for a moment. Just a moment. The feeling of sitting after standing all day is deeply satisfying. His legs relax. His shoulders drop. The tension held throughout the day begins slowly leaving his body. Outside, the village continues its evening routines. More workers arrive home. More cooking fires are lit. Thin ribbons of smoke drift upward into the fading sky. The smell of meals spreads through every street and courtyard. Many families eat similar foods. Bread remains the center of most meals. There may be onions, beans, lentils, perhaps some vegetables. Occasionally fish from the Nile. The food is simple but nourishing. For laborers, nourishment matters more than variety. Tomorrow will require strength again. The body must recover. The worker receives a piece of bread still slightly warm from baking. He tears off a portion. The texture feels familiar. Comforting. This is food he has eaten his entire life. Each bite replaces a little of the energy spent during the day. Around him, family members talk quietly. Children describe small events from their day. An older relative mentions a neighbor. Someone discusses repairs needed on part of the house. The conversation flows naturally. No one raises their voice. The evening encourages calm. Outside, the sky grows darker. The brilliant colors of sunset begin fading into softer shades. Purple appears along the horizon. The first stars emerge overhead. One by one. Small points of light returning to the sky. The workers notice them often. In a world without electric lights, the stars are familiar companions. People know their patterns. They know the seasons they announce. They know where to find them above the river. Night reveals a sky far richer than many modern people ever experience. As darkness deepens, the village changes character. The heat finally begins releasing its hold on the earth. Cooler air drifts through narrow streets. The sounds of labor fade away. No more carts creak along dusty roads. No more baskets are carried toward the river. The brick fields stand quiet beneath the evening sky. The rows of drying bricks remain exactly where the workers left them. Moonlight will soon touch their surfaces. Night dew may settle lightly around them. But the bricks themselves will rest until dawn. The workers are resting too. The man who spent the day mixing mud steps outside his home after eating. He sits near the doorway. The evening air feels wonderful. For a few moments he simply watches the village. A lamp glows nearby. Its small flame flickers gently. Voices drift through the darkness. Someone laughs softly. A baby cries briefly and then becomes quiet. A dog moves along the street. Simple sounds. Peaceful sounds. The sounds of ordinary life winding down. He stretches his legs. The soreness remains. Tomorrow it will still be there. Years of labor leave their marks. Hands become rough. Shoulders grow strong but weary. Joints complain after long days. This is simply part of life. Most workers accept it without much thought. Work and fatigue travel together. One rarely appears without the other. The stars continue multiplying overhead. Soon the sky is filled with them. The Nile reflects faint traces of moonlight. The river that provided the day's mud now glides silently through the darkness. Its waters continue moving while the village sleeps. As they always have. As they always will. The worker feels his eyelids growing heavier. The long day is finally catching up with him. The warmth of food. The coolness of evening air. The steady rhythm of insects singing beyond the village. Together they create a powerful invitation toward sleep. Around him, many others feel the same. Brick makers. Farmers. Fishermen. Builders. Merchants. Families throughout the village are gradually settling down. Clay lamps burn lower. Conversations become shorter. Doorways close. The village begins surrendering itself to night. And beneath a sky crowded with stars, the workers who spent the day shaping mud into bricks slowly allow their tired bodies to rest, while the Nile flows quietly beside the sleeping land and tomorrow waits patiently beyond the darkness. Night settles fully over the village. The last colors of sunset have faded from the western horizon. The sky is now deep and dark, filled with countless stars stretching from one edge of the world to the other. The village grows quieter with each passing moment. Most cooking fires have burned low. Most conversations have ended. The day's work has finally released its hold on the people. Now the village belongs to softer sounds. The chirping of insects. The distant movement of water. The occasional rustle of palm leaves stirred by a gentle breeze. Inside homes throughout the settlement, families prepare for sleep. The brick worker sits for a while longer outside his doorway. The air feels completely different from the afternoon. Only a few hours ago, the sun pressed heavily against every surface. Heat seemed to rise from the ground itself. Now coolness drifts through the streets. Not cold. Simply comfortable. The kind of air that allows tired muscles to relax. He listens to the village. A donkey shifts somewhere in the darkness. A door closes softly. Far away, a dog barks once. Then silence returns. The worker's body feels heavy. Not unpleasantly heavy. The pleasant weight that comes after honest labor. Every muscle seems ready for rest. His feet remember the hours spent pressing through wet mud. His shoulders remember lifting baskets. His hands remember shaping bricks beneath the sun. The body carries memories differently than the mind. The body remembers through soreness. Through stiffness. Through fatigue. And tonight, the body remembers everything. Eventually he stands. Slowly. Carefully. His knees complain for a moment. Then he steps inside. The room is dimly lit by a small clay lamp. Its flame dances softly against the walls. The mud brick surfaces glow with warm amber light. Shadows gather in the corners. The room feels safe. Simple. Familiar. Many ancient Egyptian homes are not large. Space is precious. Furniture is limited. Yet people make these spaces comfortable in their own ways. Woven mats cover portions of the floor. Storage baskets rest against walls. A few clay vessels stand nearby. Everything has a purpose. Nothing is there merely for decoration. The worker settles onto a reed mat. The woven fibers feel slightly rough beneath him. He has slept on similar mats his entire life. To him, they feel completely normal. Outside, the village continues growing quieter. One by one, lamps disappear. Darkness spreads through the streets. Only a handful of lights remain visible. Soon even those will fade. The worker closes his eyes. For a few moments, sleep does not come. His mind drifts through small thoughts. Nothing important. Nothing demanding. Simply fragments of the day. The feel of cool mud early in the morning. The brightness of the afternoon sun. The breeze that arrived near evening. The sight of endless rows of drying bricks. The smell of fresh bread. Ordinary memories. The kind that fill most human lives. Beyond the village, the brick fields rest beneath moonlight. The rows of bricks appear pale and silent in the darkness. No workers move among them now. No baskets are carried. No molds are filled. The labor has paused. The earth itself seems to be resting. A soft breeze crosses the drying grounds. It moves gently over the bricks. Then toward the river. Then beyond. The Nile flows steadily beneath the stars. Its waters never stop. Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. Many workers think little about the river while they labor. It simply exists. Always nearby. Always present. Yet nearly every part of their lives depends upon it. The mud beneath their feet. The water they drink. The crops they eat. The fish they catch. The river quietly supports everything. Tonight it glides through the darkness without complaint. Moonlight shimmers across its surface. A fisherman checks a boat secured along the shore. His day followed a different rhythm from the brick makers. But now he, too, seeks rest. Throughout the land, countless ordinary people are preparing for sleep. Farmers. Potters. Weavers. Builders. Boatmen. Scribes. Servants. Families of every kind. Ancient Egypt is often remembered through its monuments. Through statues and temples. Through the names of rulers carved into stone. But most lives unfold far away from such things. Most people spend their days working, eating, resting, and caring for family. The brick worker is one of those people. History rarely records his name. No scribe writes about the baskets he carried today. No monument celebrates the rows of bricks he shaped. Yet his work matters. Without workers like him, villages would not grow. Walls would not rise. Storage buildings would not protect grain. Homes would not shelter families. Ordinary labor quietly supports the entire world around him. The village sinks deeper into silence. The worker's breathing becomes slower. More regular. Sleep begins approaching. Outside, the stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. Ancient people often know these stars well. They use them to mark seasons. To guide travel. To understand the passing of time. Children learn their patterns from parents and grandparents. The night sky serves as a familiar companion throughout life. Tonight it watches over sleeping villages. The moon climbs a little higher. Its pale light falls across rooftops. Across roads. Across fields. Across stacks of finished bricks waiting for builders. Everything appears softer beneath moonlight. Edges blur. Shadows deepen. The world becomes quieter. Hours pass. The worker sleeps. His body begins its slow work of recovery. Muscles repair themselves. Energy returns little by little. The soreness does not vanish completely. Years of labor rarely allow that. But rest helps. Sleep helps. The night performs its quiet healing. Meanwhile, the village remains peaceful. Only a few sounds disturb the darkness. An owl calls from somewhere near the river. A breeze stirs reeds along the shoreline. Water laps gently against a boat. Then silence returns once more. The stars continue shining. The moon drifts onward. The Nile continues flowing. Everything moves at its own patient pace. Long before clocks exist, the world still follows rhythms. The rhythm of daylight. The rhythm of seasons. The rhythm of work and rest. The brick worker's life follows these rhythms closely. Tomorrow he will wake before sunrise again. Tomorrow he will return to the river. Tomorrow more mud will be mixed. More bricks will be shaped. More walls will slowly begin their journey toward existence. But tomorrow remains far away. For now, the village sleeps. The drying fields sleep. The river glides through the darkness. And beneath the vast Egyptian sky, where stars shimmer above the quiet land, the people who spent the day building the world from earth and straw rest peacefully, surrounded by the gentle silence of another ancient night. The deepest hours of the night arrive quietly. There is no announcement. No sudden change. The darkness simply settles more completely over the land. The village lies still beneath the stars. Mud brick walls hold the coolness gathered during the evening. Reed mats rest beneath sleeping families. Clay lamps have burned out one by one, leaving only moonlight and starlight to illuminate the narrow paths between homes. For the brick worker, sleep has become deep and steady. His breathing rises and falls in a slow rhythm. The aches of the day remain somewhere within him, but they no longer demand attention. Sleep has wrapped them in silence for a few precious hours. Outside, the village appears almost frozen. Yet life continues in subtle ways. A breeze moves through the palm trees. Leaves whisper softly to one another. The Nile flows past the village as it has for countless generations. Its waters glide through the darkness without hurry. The river never sleeps. Long before the first worker wakes, long before the first loaf of bread is baked, the Nile is already moving. Moonlight touches its surface. Silver ripples drip through the night. Near the shore, the drying fields of mud bricks rest beneath the open sky. The rows that seemed endless during the afternoon now appear mysterious in the darkness. Thousands of bricks sit quietly where they were left. Some are nearly finished. Others still hold traces of moisture deep within. All of them continue drying while the workers sleep. Even in rest, the work continues. The earth slowly hardens. Water slowly leaves the mud. Time does its own part of the labor. This is one reason brick making requires patience. People can mix the mud. People can shape the bricks. People can carry and stack them. But some tasks belong only to the sun, the wind, and the passing of days. Nature must finish what human hands begin. The moon crosses higher overhead. Its pale light reaches into places untouched by sunlight. Across rooftops. Across courtyards. Across sleeping animals. Across baskets and tools left waiting for tomorrow. The village appears peaceful from above. A collection of quiet homes gathered beside the river. Each home contains its own small world. Its own routines. Its own worries. Its own hopes. Inside one house, an elderly woman sleeps beside grandchildren. In another, a fisherman rests after a day on the water. Elsewhere, a potter dreams while tomorrow's clay vessels dry nearby. The brick worker sleeps among them. One ordinary life among many. One thread woven into a much larger fabric. Ancient Egypt is filled with such lives. History often remembers kings. It remembers monuments. It remembers temples and tombs. But most people spend their days much differently. Most people rise with the sun. Work with their hands. share meals with family, and sleep beneath simple roofs at night. Their stories are quieter, yet they form the true rhythm of everyday life. As midnight passes, the air grows cooler still. The heat stored in the earth begins fading. Dusty roads become pleasant beneath the moonlight. The scent of warm soil lingers softly in the night air. Far beyond the village, desert landscapes stretch toward distant horizons. Those regions remain silent beneath the stars. The vastness of the land becomes easier to sense at night. Without the distractions of daytime activity, the world feels larger. The sky feels deeper. The stars seem endless. Many ancient people spend portions of their lives outdoors. They know the night sky well. They recognize familiar patterns overhead. Certain stars announce coming seasons. Others help travelers navigate. The heavens serve as both clock and calendar. Night after night, people learn to read them. The brick worker knows some of these patterns too. Not because he studies them formally, because he has spent a lifetime beneath them. The stars become familiar companions when much of life happens outdoors. Hours continue slipping by. The moon begins its slow journey westward. The darkness changes almost imperceptibly. Somewhere along the riverbank, a bird stirs. A fish breaks the surface of the water and disappears again. Tiny sounds ripple through the night. Most sleepers never notice them. Yet together they create a gentle living soundtrack. The world is never completely silent. Even during its quietest moments. The brick worker shifts slightly on his mat. Sleep remains deep. His body is using these hours wisely. Tomorrow will require strength. The baskets will still be heavy. The mud will still need mixing. The sun will still climb into the sky. Recovery matters. In a life shaped by physical labor, rest is not a luxury. It is a necessity. The body depends upon it. Without proper sleep, the work becomes harder. Every movement costs more energy. Every task feels heavier. Ancient workers understand this through experience. Perhaps not through science, but through countless days lived beneath the sun. Gradually, the night begins its slow turn toward morning. The change is almost impossible to detect at first. The stars remain bright. The village remains asleep. The river continues flowing through darkness. Yet somewhere beyond the eastern horizon, tomorrow is already beginning. Not visibly. Not yet. But the world is moving toward dawn. Hours from now, the first faint light will return. The sky will soften. Birds will begin calling from the reeds. Workers will wake. Fires will be lit. Bread will bake. And another day of labor will begin. For now, however, those moments remain distant. The village still belongs to the night. The brick fields still belong to the moonlight. The Nile still belongs to the stars. And beneath the vast dark sky of ancient Egypt, ordinary people sleep peacefully, gathering strength for another day beside the river, while rows of drying mud bricks rest quietly in the cool darkness, waiting patiently for the return of the sun. Very slowly, the night begins to change. The stars still shine above the village. The moon still hangs over the river. The streets remain quiet. Yet something subtle is happening beyond the eastern horizon. The darkness is no longer growing deeper. Instead, it has reached its fullest depth and has begun the long, gentle journey toward morning. No one notices at first. The sleeping village remains wrapped in silence. Inside the mud brick homes, families rest beneath woven coverings. The coolness gathered during the night lingers within the thick walls. The air feels calm and comfortable. The brick worker continues sleeping. His hands lie still beside him. Hands that spent the previous day lifting baskets. Hands that pressed wet mud into wooden molds. Hands that carried the weight of countless bricks. Now they rest. The rough skin of his palms tells the story of many years of labor. Small scars. Calluses. Hardened fingertips. These are common among workers throughout ancient Egypt. The body records its history quietly. Not in writing. Not in stone. But in muscle and skin. Outside, the Nile glides through the darkness. The river seems almost magical before dawn. The surface reflects scattered stars. The shoreline appears soft and shadowy. Reeds sway gently whenever a breeze passes through. Everything feels suspended between night and morning. A fisherman sleeping near his boat shifts slightly. A donkey tucked beside a wall flicks its ears. An owl makes one final call before disappearing into the darkness. The night remains alive, but only barely. It is resting too. Far out on the drying grounds, the rows of mud bricks wait patiently. During daylight they are the center of constant activity. Workers move among them. Tools scrape against the earth. Voices drift through the air. Now none of that exists. The bricks sit quietly beneath the stars. They continue drying. Slowly. Patiently. The process cannot be hurried. The bricks must release their moisture at their own pace. The workers understand this. Some things require effort. Other things require waiting. Brick making demands both. The eastern sky begins to change. At first, the difference is almost invisible. A faint softening. A slight lifting of darkness near the horizon. The stars closest to the earth lose a little of their brightness. The village remains asleep. But dawn is approaching. The world is preparing itself. A cool breeze drifts through the streets. It slips between homes. Across rooftops. Through courtyards. It carries the smell of river water and damp earth. The scent feels fresh after the long night. Pleasant. Clean. The brick worker stirs slightly. Not awake. Not yet. His body senses the approaching morning before his mind does. Many people who rise before dawn develop this awareness. Their bodies learn the rhythm of the day. The rhythm becomes part of them. No clock is needed. The world itself becomes the clock. The stars. The light. The air. The sounds of birds. All of these things quietly announce the passing hours. The sky brightens a little more. Now a pale band appears above the eastern horizon. It stretches gently across the distance. The stars begin fading one by one. The brightest remain. The smaller ones disappear first. The village slowly emerges from the darkness. Shapes become visible. Walls. Roofs. Paths. Trees. Everything remains quiet, but now it can be seen. Near the river, birds begin waking. A single call breaks the silence. Then another. Then several more. Soon the reeds are filled with gentle sounds. The birds are among the first creatures to greet the day. Their voices spread across the landscape. The brick worker opens his eyes. For a moment he remains still. The room is dim. The first traces of dawn filter softly through the doorway. His body feels heavy. The soreness has not disappeared. It never completely disappears. His shoulders remain stiff. His legs still ache faintly. His hands are tired. Yet he also feels restored. Sleep has done its work. Energy has returned. Not perfect energy. Enough. Enough for another day. He sits up slowly. The familiar movements begin. A stretch. A deep breath. A hand rubbed across tired eyes. Outside, more sounds appear. A nearby family is already awake. Someone is grinding grain. The steady rhythm of stone against stone echoes through the morning air. Elsewhere, a door opens. Footsteps cross a courtyard. A clay jar is lifted. The village is awakening. The transition is gradual. No sudden burst of activity. Just one household after another beginning the day. The worker steps outside. The dawn air feels wonderful. Cool. Fresh. For a few precious moments, the heat of the coming day seems impossible to imagine. The sky continues brightening. Soft shades of blue begin replacing the darkness. The river reflects the growing light. Mist lingers in a few low places near the water. The world feels clean and new. Every morning brings this feeling. A brief moment when yesterday's labor seems distant. A brief moment before baskets become heavy. Before muscles grow tired. Before the sun climbs overhead. Many workers come to appreciate these early hours. Not because they are easy. Because they are peaceful. The village smells of bread once again. Ovens are being prepared. Cooking fires are coming to life. Thin streams of smoke rise into the brightening sky. The smell drifts gently through the streets. The worker follows it home. Soon he will eat. Soon he will return to the river. Soon he will see the drying fields again. The same fields he left beneath moonlight only hours before. The cycle continues. Day after day. Season after season. The rhythm rarely changes. Yet there is comfort in that rhythm. The predictability creates a certain peace. People know what tomorrow will require. They know where they belong. They know what tasks await. As the first edge of the sun appears above the horizon, golden light spills across the land. The river catches it first. Then the fields. Then the village. Mud brick walls begin glowing softly. Palm trees cast long shadows. Birds fill the morning air with song. The day has begun. The brick worker eats a simple meal. Bread. Water. Perhaps a few dates. Enough to start the morning. Nothing extravagant. The food is familiar. Reliable. Just like the routine surrounding it. Soon he joins other workers walking toward the Nile. Their sandals press into dusty paths. The village slowly falls behind them. Ahead lies the river. Ahead lie the mixing pits. Ahead lie the rows of drying bricks. Ahead lies another day shaped by earth, water, straw, sunlight, and human effort. And as the sun climbs steadily into the clear Egyptian sky, the workers return once more to the quiet labor of turning river mud into the bricks that will shelter families, support communities, and slowly build the ordinary world around them. The morning unfolds with a familiar rhythm. The workers walk together along the dusty path that leads from the village to the river. Their sandals leave faint marks in the earth. Some carry baskets over their shoulders. Others carry wooden molds worn smooth by years of use. The air is still cool. For now. The sun has only recently risen above the horizon, and its warmth remains gentle. Long shadows stretch across the ground. Palm trees stand quietly against the brightening sky. The brick worker breathes deeply as he walks. The scent of the Nile drifts through the morning air. Water. Mud. Growing reeds. Fresh earth. These smells have accompanied nearly every day of his life. They are as familiar to him as the walls of his home. Ahead, the river glimmers softly beneath the early sunlight. The sight never grows entirely ordinary. The Nile changes from hour to hour. At dawn it appears calm and silver. At midday it shines with dazzling brightness. At sunset it glows with gold and copper. At night it reflects the stars. The workers approach the riverbank. Already, activity has begun. Fishermen prepare boats. Farmers move toward nearby fields. Water carriers fill jars. The day is waking across the entire landscape. Near the brick fields, yesterday's rows of drying bricks wait patiently beneath the morning sun. The workers glance toward them as they arrive. Some bricks have hardened further overnight. Others still need more time. The process continues steadily. Nothing about brick making is rushed. The earth follows its own schedule. The workers set down their tools. A few stretch their backs. Others roll their shoulders. Morning energy has returned, but the memory of yesterday's labor still lingers inside their muscles. No one complains much. This is simply how life feels. The body works. The body rests. Then the body works again. The cycle repeats. A young worker kneels beside a pile of straw. The dry stalks rustle softly as he gathers them. Nearby, another worker fills baskets with fresh mud collected from the riverbank. The mud is cool beneath his hands. Smooth. Heavy. Dense with moisture. The Nile has left behind another gift. The river always gives something. Water. Fish. Fertile soil. Mud for bricks. The entire world around these workers depends upon what the river provides. Soon the mixing begins again. Workers step into shallow pits where mud, straw, and water will be combined. The sensation is familiar. Cool mud surrounds tired feet. The mixture presses softly against ankles and calves. For a few moments, it feels pleasant. A welcome contrast to the heat that will come later. The workers begin moving. Back and forth. Round and round. Their feet knead the mixture steadily. Straw disappears beneath the surface. Water spreads evenly through the mud. The rhythm returns almost immediately. A rhythm older than memory. A rhythm repeated by countless generations before them. One worker hums quietly while he works. The tune is simple. Slow. Comforting. Others say nothing. The sound of moving mud fills the air. Soft splashes. Gentle squishing. The occasional scrape of a wooden tool. Nothing loud. Nothing urgent. Just the steady sounds of labor. The morning breeze drifts across the river. It carries coolness from the water. The workers appreciate every moment of it. By afternoon, breezes may become rare. For now, the air remains kind. The sun climbs higher. Its light spreads across the fields. Birds search for food among the reeds. Small boats drift along the shoreline. Life unfolds quietly in every direction. The brick worker focuses on the mixture beneath his feet. Years of experience have taught him how the mud should feel. Too wet and the bricks will slump. Too dry and they will crack. The correct balance exists somewhere in between. His hands know it. His feet know it. His eyes know it. Knowledge lives in the body. Not every skill needs words. Some skills become instinct through repetition. Nearby, an older worker examines a handful of mud. He squeezes it gently. Turns it over. Studies its texture. Then he nods. The mixture is ready. The molding begins. Wooden frames are placed on flat ground. Workers scoop wet mud into them. Hands press firmly. Corners are filled carefully. Excess material is smoothed away. Then the mold is lifted. A fresh brick remains behind. Simple. Neat. Perfectly shaped. The process repeats. Again. And again. And again. 1 brick becomes 10. 10 become 50. 50 become hundreds. The rows slowly expand across the drying grounds. The worker kneels beside a mold. His movements are practiced and efficient. There is no wasted effort. Every motion has been refined through years of experience. He fills, presses, smooths, lifts, moves forward, repeats. The work becomes almost meditative. His mind drifts gently while his hands continue. He thinks about the evening meal, about repairs needed at home, about the coming flood season, about nothing in particular. The repetition allows thoughts to wander. The body handles the task. The morning grows brighter. Heat begins gathering once again. The workers notice it immediately. Sunlight touches their shoulders. Warmth settles across the earth. The coolness of dawn starts fading. Everyone understands what lies ahead. The long afternoon. The heavy brightness. The endless sunlight. Yet nobody dwells on it. Thinking about the heat does not lessen it. Better to focus on the next brick. The next basket. The next row. Near the edge of the worksite, several children pass by carrying water jars. They glance curiously toward the brick makers. Some of them may become workers themselves one day. Perhaps not brick makers. Perhaps farmers. Perhaps fishermen. Perhaps builders. Most children eventually join the routines of adult life. For now, though, they continue along the path. Their laughter drifts briefly through the morning air before fading into the distance. The workers continue shaping bricks. The rows lengthen steadily. Sunlight reflects from damp surfaces. Fresh mud glistens. The earth seems alive beneath their hands. Every brick represents possibility. A future wall. A future room. A future shelter. The workers may never see where most of these bricks eventually go. Yet their labor becomes part of countless lives. A family may sleep behind walls made from today's work. A merchant may store grain within a building supported by these bricks. A child not yet born may one day lean against them. The workers rarely think so far ahead. Their attention remains rooted in the present. The next task. The next movement. The next hour. That is enough. The sun climbs higher still. The shadows shorten. The river sparkles brightly. The day continues opening before them. And beneath the widening Egyptian sky, beside the patient waters of the Nile, the workers once again spend their morning turning soft river mud into strong, useful bricks, building the foundations of ordinary life one careful handful at a time. The morning slowly advances toward midday. The cool hours have passed now. The air is still pleasant compared to what will come later, but the first true signs of heat are beginning to settle across the land. The workers feel it on the backs of their necks. They feel it on their arms. They feel it in the sunlight spreading across the open fields. The river continues flowing beside them. Its steady presence offers comfort. Whenever the workers look up from their tasks, the Nile is there. Blue and silver beneath the growing sun. Patient as ever. The brick maker wipes a small line of sweat from his forehead. The day is still young, yet already his hands are coated with fine layers of mud. Small pieces have dried against his skin. Tiny flakes crack and fall away whenever he moves. This is normal. By evening, nearly every part of him will carry traces of earth. The workers continue filling molds. Rows of fresh bricks spread farther across the drying grounds. The newest bricks are dark with moisture. The older ones have begun turning lighter as the sun draws water from them. The difference is easy to see. Some rows appear rich brown. Others appear pale and dusty. Together they create patterns across the landscape, almost like fields planted with different crops. A breeze passes over the river. It reaches the workers a few moments later. The movement of air feels wonderful. Several men pause briefly and lift their faces toward it. No one speaks. There is nothing to say. The feeling itself is enough. Then the breeze fades. The work continues. Nearby, a group of workers loads dried bricks onto a sled. The task requires cooperation. One man lifts. Another steadies. A third arranges the stack. Together they work with quiet efficiency. Many of them have spent years laboring beside one another. They understand each other's movements without needing many words. A slight nod. A gesture. A glance. That is often enough. The brickmaker watches them for a moment before returning to his own task. He kneels beside a mold. Scoops mud. Presses it firmly into place. Smooths the surface with practiced hands. Then lifts the mold away. Another brick joins the row. The movement feels automatic now. His muscles know the sequence by heart. Sometimes he wonders how many bricks he has made during his lifetime. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Perhaps more. The number is impossible to know. The days blend together. One season follows another. 1 year follows the next. Bricks are made. Walls are built. Families grow. Children become adults. The cycle continues. The sun climbs steadily. Its reflection dances across the water. Fishermen guide small boats along the riverbank. From a distance they appear peaceful. Yet their work is demanding too. Almost every occupation in this world requires physical effort. Hands are always busy. Bodies are always moving. The brickmaker understands this well. He has spent most of his life working beneath the sky. The weather is not something distant to him. It shapes every day. The wind matters. The sunlight matters. The river level matters. A cloudy day feels different from a clear one. A strong breeze changes everything. Nature is not a backdrop. It is a constant companion. The smell of wet mud rises from the mixing pits. The scent is rich and earthy. It blends with the smell of straw. Nearby, someone opens a cloth bundle containing bread. The aroma drifts across the worksite. Several workers glance over instinctively. The smell of food has a way of capturing attention, especially during long hours of labor. A short break follows. Not a long one. Just enough time to eat and drink. The workers gather wherever shade can be found. A reed shelter. The shadow of a wall. The side of a storage building. Any protection from the sun is welcome. The brickmaker sits carefully. His knees appreciate the rest. He stretches his legs. For a few moments he simply listens. The sounds of the work site become quieter. Voices replace labor. People speak softly while they eat. Someone mentions a cousin preparing for marriage. Another speaks about repairs needed on a roof. Someone else wonders how high the river may rise during the next flood season. Ordinary conversations. Small pieces of everyday life. The brick maker tears off a piece of bread. The bread is simple, dense and filling. He eats slowly. Nearby, another worker peels an onion. Its sharp scent mixes with the warm smell of grain. A few dates are shared among friends. Nothing elaborate. Yet the meal feels satisfying. Physical labor teaches people to appreciate simple food. Hunger sharpens gratitude. After eating, many workers sit quietly. They conserve energy. The sun is growing stronger. The hardest hours still lie ahead. One worker leans against a wall and closes his eyes briefly. Not sleeping. Simply resting. Enjoying a few moments without lifting, carrying, or bending. The brick maker watches the river. The sight calms him. The water seems unchanged from yesterday. Unchanged from the day before that. And perhaps from countless days before his own birth. There is something comforting about that. The river remains steady even when everything else changes. Children grow older. Parents grow old. Villages expand. Buildings rise. But the Nile continues flowing. A familiar thread connecting generations. The break ends. Workers rise one by one. The shade is difficult to leave. Yet everyone knows it must be done. The day's work is waiting. The brick maker stands. His muscles feel slightly stiff after sitting. The sensation fades after a few steps. Soon he is moving among the molds again. The rhythm returns immediately. Mud. Straw. Water. Hands. Movement. The same pattern repeated countless times. As the morning approaches midday, the light becomes brighter still. The sky is a vast field of blue. Clouds are scarce. The sun rules everything. Heat shimmers above distant ground. The air feels heavier. The workers narrow their eyes against the brightness. Yet the work site remains active. Rows of fresh bricks continue growing. Sleds continue moving. Baskets continue arriving. The labor never truly stops. Across the river, farmers bend over their fields. Along the shoreline, fishermen tend their nets. In the village, bakers prepare more bread. Potters shape clay vessels. Scribes record transactions and inventories. Everywhere, people are working. Not because they seek greatness. Not because they expect history to remember them. Simply because life requires it. The brick maker is one small part of that larger world. His labor joins countless others. Together they create something larger than any single person could accomplish alone. The sun rises higher still. The shadows shrink toward the feet of the workers. The brightest hours of the day are approaching once again. The heat gathers quietly over the fields. The river sparkles beside them. And among the rows of drying bricks, the workers continue their ancient task with steady hands and patient hearts, shaping earth into shelter beneath the endless Egyptian sky. By midday, the sun stands almost directly overhead. The shadows have become short and narrow. The bright light falls nearly straight down onto the earth. Every surface seems to hold warmth. Every stone, every wall, every basket, and every brick absorbs the sun's steady attention. The workers feel it everywhere. The heat settles across their shoulders. It presses gently against their backs. It follows them through every task. No one is surprised by it. This is the season they know. The season they have always known. The brick maker bends beside a row of newly formed bricks. His movements are slower now than they were at dawn. Not because he is careless. Because the body naturally adjusts to the heat. Fast movements waste energy. Experienced workers understand this. The day is long. Strength must be used wisely. He lifts a fresh brick from its mold and places it carefully beside dozens of others. The surface remains damp. The edges are soft. For now, the brick is fragile. A careless touch could damage it. But given enough time, enough sunlight, and enough patience, it will become strong. So many things in this world depend on patience. The workers know this deeply. Crops require patience. Children require patience. Building a home requires patience. Even a simple mud brick asks for patience. The brick maker straightens slowly. His lower back feels stiff. For a moment he presses both hands against his hips. The brief stretch helps. Then he returns to work. Nearby, a pair of workers carries baskets filled with fresh mud from the riverbank. The baskets sway gently as they walk. The weight pulls at their arms. The handles press against their palms. By evening, their shoulders will ache. Yet they continue steadily. One step after another. The rhythm of labor is rarely dramatic. Most work consists of small actions repeated many times. Lift. Carry. Set down. Return. Again and again. The Nile glitters beside them. The sight remains beautiful even during the hottest hours. Sunlight dances across the water in countless bright flashes. Looking directly at it can almost hurt the eyes. The river appears alive with light. A small boat drifts near the shore. Its occupants move quietly. Their voices do not carry far. Everything seems softened by the heat. Even sound itself feels slower. The brick maker wipes sweat from his forehead. Tiny droplets gather along his temples. They slide down his face and disappear into the dust. The sun demands water from every living thing. The workers drink whenever they can. Clay jars stand beneath simple shelters. The water inside is cool compared to the air. Not cold. Cold water is rare. But cool enough to feel refreshing. A worker lifts a cup. Drinks slowly. Then pours a little water over his wrists. The sensation brings immediate relief. Others do the same. Small comforts matter during long afternoons. A brief breeze. A sip of water. A patch of shade. These simple things become valuable treasures. The work site continues its steady activity. Rows of bricks spread across the drying grounds. Some workers shape new bricks. Others move older ones. Others inspect those that have nearly finished drying. Everyone has a task. Everyone contributes. The brick maker walks among rows created days earlier. These bricks are firmer now. Their surfaces feel rough beneath his fingertips. The warmth trapped inside them reveals how long they have sat beneath the sun. He taps one gently. It produces a solid sound. A good sign. Nearby, another worker examines a brick that has cracked. The crack is small but noticeable. He studies it quietly. No anger. No frustration. Only acceptance. Some bricks fail. It happens. The earth does not always cooperate perfectly. A few damaged bricks are part of every batch. The broken one will eventually return to the soil from which it came. Nothing is truly wasted. The heat deepens. The air above the ground begins to shimmer. Distant objects appear slightly blurred. The horizon seems softer than it did in the morning. The brick maker narrows his eyes. Bright sunlight reflects from every direction. The world feels filled with light. For a moment he glances toward the village. The mud brick homes sit quietly in the distance. Their thick walls protect families from the worst of the heat. Inside those homes, some people are resting. Young children. Elderly relatives. Those whose tasks are lighter during the hottest hours. The workers beside the river continue regardless. Their labor follows the needs of the day. The brick maker thinks briefly about his home. About the cool shade inside. About the evening meal waiting many hours from now. The thought is pleasant. Then it drifts away. There is work to do. Thoughts come and go during repetitive labor. Like clouds over a river. They appear. They pass. The work remains. A flock of birds rises from the reeds. Their wings flash brightly in the sunlight. Several workers glance upward. The sight lasts only a few moments. Soon the birds disappear into the vast blue sky. The workers return their attention to the earth. The contrast feels fitting somehow. Birds belong to the sky. Brick makers belong to the ground. Their hands spend each day touching the very soil beneath their feet. The earth feeds them. The earth shelters them. And through their labor, the earth becomes walls and homes. As the afternoon begins, conversations grow quieter. The heat encourages silence. Words require energy. Most workers save their breath. Instead, the sounds of labor dominate the air. The scrape of wooden molds. The rustle of straw. The soft thud of bricks being placed into rows. The distant splash of river water. These sounds create a gentle rhythm. A rhythm older than memory. A rhythm that countless workers have heard across countless generations. The brick maker moves steadily among the drying fields. His shadow remains small beneath the overhead sun. The day feels long. Yet it is moving forward. Every hour brings evening closer. Every completed row marks progress. The workers rarely measure time precisely. They measure it through sunlight. Through shadows. Through hunger. Through the position of the sun above the river. Nature provides all the information they need. A younger worker nearby pauses to stretch. His arms rise above his head. His shoulders crack softly. Several older workers smile. They remember those early years. The years when every muscle seemed surprised by hard labor. Eventually the body learns. Or perhaps it simply accepts. Either way, the work becomes part of life. The younger worker returns to his task. The cycle continues. Mud becomes bricks. Bricks become walls. Walls become homes. Homes become the center of family life. Everything begins here beside the river. Everything begins with earth and effort. The sun continues blazing overhead. The Nile continues flowing quietly beside the fields. And among rows of drying bricks that stretch across the warm ground, the workers move steadily through the bright afternoon, carrying forward a task so ordinary and so essential that it has become woven into the very fabric of life along the ancient river. The afternoon settles over the riverbank like a warm blanket. The brightest part of the day has arrived. The sun hangs high above the Nile, pouring light across the water, the fields, and the endless rows of drying bricks. The air shimmers softly above the ground. Distant trees seem to waver in the heat. Yet the work continues. It always continues. The brick maker moves carefully between rows of bricks laid out earlier in the day. His sandals leave faint marks in the dusty ground. Each step is measured. Each movement deliberate. There is no reason to hurry. Hurrying only creates exhaustion. The experienced workers understand this better than anyone. The day is not won through speed. It is endured through patience. A nearby row of bricks catches his attention. The newest bricks still appear dark with moisture. They glisten faintly under the sunlight. Beside them, bricks made several days ago look completely different. Their surfaces have become pale and dry. Tiny grains of sand cling to their edges. The transformation happens gradually. So gradually that workers barely notice it hour by hour. But over days, the change becomes clear. The soft mud becomes something strong. Something useful. Something lasting. The brick maker kneels beside one row and gently adjusts a brick that has shifted slightly. The movement takes only a moment. Yet small details matter. Straight rows allow better drying. Good spacing allows air to move freely. The workers learn these lessons through experience. Many of them learned by watching older relatives. The knowledge passes quietly through generations. Not through formal instruction. Not through written records. Mostly through observation. A child watches. A young helper learns. An adult continues the tradition. The cycle repeats. The afternoon breeze arrives briefly from the river. The workers welcome it immediately. The breeze carries the scent of water and reeds. It brushes across sweaty skin. For a few moments, the heat feels less demanding. Then the air grows still again. Nobody complains. Complaints cannot change the weather. The workers simply continue. The Nile remains busy even during the hottest hours. Small boats move steadily along the water. Some carry fish. Others carry supplies. A few transport people between villages. From a distance, the boats seem peaceful. They glide through sunlight and shadow with gentle ease. The river has always been a road as much as a source of water. People travel along it. Trade along it. Build their lives beside it. The brick maker glances toward the boats while carrying a basket of mud. Only briefly. The basket is heavy. His attention soon returns to the task at hand. The weight presses against his arms. His shoulders tighten. His back reminds him of yesterday. And the day before that. And many years before. The labor leaves its mark. Yet his body has adapted. What once felt difficult now feels familiar. Not easy. Never easy. But familiar. The basket reaches the mixing area. He empties it carefully. Thick mud slides into the pit below. The smell of wet earth rises immediately. Rich. Fresh. Deep. It is the smell of the river itself. A smell known by every brick maker. The workers step into the mixing pit once again. Their feet disappear beneath the mud. Slowly they begin trampling. The motion feels almost rhythmic. Step. Press. Turn. Step again. The mixture shifts beneath them. Water spreads evenly. Straw disappears into the mud. Everything combines gradually. The process has changed little for generations. There is something timeless about it. A task performed by countless people across countless years. The sun moves almost imperceptibly across the sky. Most workers do not notice. The movement is too slow. Yet shadows begin lengthening by tiny amounts. The afternoon is advancing. The hottest hours will not last forever. The brick maker knows this. Every worker knows it. The day always moves forward. No matter how long it feels. Nearby, a pair of laborers shares a quiet conversation while working. Their voices remain low. The topic is ordinary. A neighbor's new roof. A recent fishing trip. The condition of a donkey. Nothing remarkable. Yet these conversations help pass the hours. Human beings have always shared small stories while they work. The stories create connection. They remind people that they are not laboring alone. The brick maker listens without joining. His thoughts drift elsewhere. Toward memories. Toward routines. Toward simple reflections. The repetitive nature of the work allows the mind to wander. His hands continue shaping bricks. His feet continue moving through mud. His body knows what to do. The mind travels where it wishes. A bird lands briefly on a stack of dried bricks. It tilts its head. Looks around. Then flies away again. The entire visit lasts only seconds. Yet moments like this stand out during long afternoons. Tiny interruptions. Small reminders that life exists beyond the work site. The workers notice such things more than outsiders might expect. People who spend their lives outdoors become attentive observers. They notice changes in the wind. They notice bird behavior. They notice river levels. The natural world constantly provides information. One learns to pay attention. The afternoon continues unfolding. The sunlight begins losing a little of its harshness. Only a little. But enough for the workers to feel it. The change lifts spirits quietly. No announcements are made. No celebrations occur. Yet everyone senses the shift. The most difficult heat is beginning to ease. The promise of evening remains distant but visible. The brick maker straightens his back and looks across the drying grounds. The sight is impressive. Rows upon rows of bricks stretch toward the horizon. Thousands of them. Perhaps tens of thousands. Each one made by human hands. Each one representing effort. Looking across them creates a strange feeling. The bricks appear simple. Almost ordinary. Yet together they form something immense. A collective achievement built from countless small actions. One handful of mud at a time. One basket at a time. One day at a time. This is how much of the ancient world is built. Not through sudden bursts of activity. Not through dramatic moments. But through patient repetition. Through ordinary people performing ordinary tasks. Again and again. The sun begins its slow descent toward the western horizon. The light softens slightly. Golden tones start appearing among the bright whites of afternoon. The workers notice. Everyone notices. Even if nobody says a word. The day is turning. The long journey toward evening has begun. The brick maker feels renewed energy. Not because he is less tired. Because the sight of the lowering sun brings comfort. Every laborer understands this feeling. The body may still ache. The tasks may still remain. Yet evening is approaching. The day's hardest work is gradually moving behind them. The Nile glows softly beneath the changing light. The breeze returns. Birds become more active near the reeds. The shadows lengthen across the drying fields. And among thousands of bricks slowly hardening beneath the Egyptian sky, the workers continue their steady labor, carrying the afternoon toward evening with the same quiet patience that has guided them since dawn. The afternoon slowly begins to soften. The change is gentle enough that it could almost be missed. A few hours ago, the sunlight seemed to pour straight down from above, bright and relentless. Now it begins to lean slightly westward. The shadows beside the bricks grow longer. The light gains a warmer color. The workers feel the difference before they fully see it. The air remains warm. The ground remains warm. The bricks themselves still hold the heat gathered throughout the day. Yet something has shifted. The harsh edge of midday is fading. The brick maker carries a wooden mold beneath one arm as he walks between rows of drying bricks. The mold feels familiar in his hands. Its surface has become smooth from years of use. Many hands have held it. Many bricks have passed through it. The wood bears tiny scratches and marks left by countless days of labor. Objects in this world rarely remain new for long. Everything is used. Everything is repaired. Everything serves its purpose for as long as possible. He places the mold beside a fresh pile of prepared mud. Nearby, several workers continue shaping bricks for tomorrow's drying fields. The rhythm remains steady. Scoop. Press. Smooth. Lift. Move forward. Repeat. The actions flow together almost without thought. One movement naturally leads to the next. The work becomes a kind of quiet pattern. A pattern repeated so many times that it settles into the body itself. The brick maker notices a group of children walking along a distant path. They are carrying small bundles of reeds. Perhaps helping their families. Perhaps gathering materials for household use. The children move quickly despite the heat. Their energy seems endless. They laugh among themselves as they walk. The sound drifts briefly across the fields. Then disappears. The workers smile faintly. Many remember their own childhoods. Days that seemed endless. Days when adulthood felt unimaginably distant. Now they stand on the other side of those years. Now they are the adults carrying the responsibilities. Time moves quietly. A child becomes a worker. A worker becomes an elder. The cycle continues. The Nile reflects the changing sunlight. Golden streaks appear upon its surface. The water looks different now than it did in the morning. Softer somehow. More relaxed. Even the river seems to slow beneath the afternoon light. A fisherman guides his boat toward shore. His nets hang neatly inside the vessel. Soon he will return home as well. Another day completed. Another day added to a lifetime of ordinary labor. The brick maker watches the boat for a moment. Then returns to his task. The work site still requires attention. Rows of newly formed bricks need inspection. Some must be turned. Others need additional space between them. The workers move carefully among the rows. One misplaced step could damage several bricks. Experience teaches awareness. Every movement becomes deliberate. A worker bends and lifts a partially dried brick. The surface feels rough against his palms. Warm from the sun. He turns it carefully and places it back down. Then moves to the next one. And the next. The task seems simple. Yet after hundreds of repetitions, even simple work demands effort. The body grows tired. The shoulders ache. The lower back stiffens. Still, the workers continue. Not because they enjoy discomfort. Because the task must be completed. This practical understanding shapes much of daily life. There are things that need doing. So people do them. No speeches. No grand declarations. Just steady effort. The afternoon breeze strengthens slightly. It moves across the drying grounds in gentle waves. The workers welcome every breath of cooler air. Sweat dries more quickly. The skin feels lighter. For a few moments, the work becomes easier. The brick maker closes his eyes briefly as the breeze passes. The sensation is pleasant. Simple pleasures often matter most during long days. A cool wind. A drink of water. A shaded place to sit. Fresh bread at evening. These things are never taken for granted. The older workers understand this especially well. Years of labor teach appreciation. One learns to value small comforts. The sky remains clear. An enormous blue arch stretching over river, fields, and village. Only a few birds interrupt its emptiness. They circle lazily overhead. Their shadows glide across the ground. The brickmaker watches one drift across a row of drying bricks. The shadow appears and disappears in an instant. A small moment. Yet somehow memorable. Long hours outdoors create room for noticing small things. The way light changes. The way shadows move. The way wind ripples through reeds. These details become companions throughout the day. Nearby, a pair of workers begin stacking fully dried bricks onto a sled. The work requires care. The bricks are strong now but still vulnerable to rough handling. One worker lifts. The other arranges. Together they build neat stacks. The sled gradually fills. Its weight increases with every layer. Soon it will be pulled towards storage areas closer to the village. There the bricks will wait for builders. Their journey is not finished. In many ways, it is only beginning. The brickmaker often wonders where some of the bricks eventually end up. Perhaps in a new family home. Perhaps in a workshop. Perhaps in a bakery where bread will be baked for generations. Perhaps in a wall that will stand long after he is gone. The thought is strangely comforting. His work travels farther than he ever will. His hands leave marks in places he may never see. The afternoon light grows richer. Golden tones deepen across the landscape. The drying fields seem to glow. The river shines like polished bronze. The village appears warmer and softer in the distance. Cooking fires will begin appearing there before long. The workers know this. Even without looking, they can almost imagine the evening routines already beginning. Women preparing meals. Children returning home. Animals being fed. Water jars being filled. The village gradually turning toward night. The thought brings quiet encouragement. The workday is moving forward. The hardest hours have passed. The brickmaker feels the familiar tiredness spreading through his body. Not sudden exhaustion. A gradual heaviness. The accumulated weight of effort. Each basket carried. Each brick shaped. Each step through mud. All of it adds together. Yet there is satisfaction hidden within the fatigue. The drying fields provide visible proof of the day's labor. Thousands of bricks now rest beneath the afternoon sky. Thousands more than existed yesterday morning. The workers may not speak of accomplishment often. Still, they can see it. Row after row stretching across the earth. Physical evidence of patience and effort. The sun continues lowering toward the horizon. Its light grows softer with every passing moment. The shadows lengthen farther. The breeze cools slightly. Birdsong becomes more frequent near the river. And among the vast fields of drying mud bricks, the workers move steadily through the late afternoon, guided by habit, experience, and the quiet understanding that evening is drawing ever closer across the ancient land beside the Nile. The late afternoon settles gently across the riverbank. The sun has begun its long descent toward the western horizon. Its light no longer falls straight down upon the earth. Instead, it stretches across the landscape, touching the fields, the river, and the drying bricks with a warm golden glow. Everything appears softer now. The edges of shadows blur slightly. The brightness that dominated the middle of the day begins to fade. The brickmaker notices the change immediately. Every worker does. No matter how focused they are on their tasks, they always remain aware of the sun. The sun governs the day. It determines when work begins. It determines when work becomes difficult. And it announces when rest is slowly approaching. The drying grounds seem larger in the evening light. Rows of bricks cast long shadows across the earth. Each shadow stretches farther than it did only a few hours ago. Together they form delicate patterns across the dusty ground. The sight is surprisingly beautiful. Not grand. Not dramatic. Simply peaceful. The brickmaker pauses for a moment beside a row that was shaped early in the morning. The bricks have already changed. They feel firmer. Their surfaces have become lighter in color. The warmth stored inside them still lingers from the long day beneath the sun. He runs his hand across one brick. The texture is rough. Solid. Reliable. Soon it will be ready for transport. Soon it will become part of something larger. A home. A wall. A workshop. A place where daily life will unfold. He thinks about this occasionally. Not often. Most of the time he is too busy working. But now and then, usually during quieter moments, he wonders about the future of the things he makes. Some of these bricks may stand for many years. Children may grow up inside buildings constructed from them. Families may gather for meals beside walls built from them. People may seek shade beneath roofs supported by them. The bricks will become part of countless ordinary stories. The worker himself may never know any of those stories. Yet his labor contributes to them all. A breeze drifts across the river. This one is stronger than earlier breezes. The workers welcome it immediately. Loose strands of straw shift across the ground. The reeds near the shoreline sway gently. The moving air cools tired faces. The sensation feels wonderful. Several workers stop briefly to drink water. Clay jars stand beneath simple shelters. Their surfaces remain cool to the touch. The water inside carries the faint taste of clay. A familiar taste. A taste associated with relief. The brickmaker drinks slowly. He feels the coolness travel through him. For a moment, the weight of the day seems lighter. Then he returns the cup and resumes his work. The pace has changed slightly. Not slower exactly. More relaxed. The urgency of midday has disappeared. The workers understand how much remains to be done before evening. They move steadily toward those final tasks. Nothing more. Nothing less. Nearby, a team of laborers loads finished bricks onto a sled. The stack grows taller with every minute. The workers lift carefully. Their muscles are tired. Their backs are sore. Yet experience guides their movements. They know how to carry weight. They know how to avoid wasting effort. Years of labor have taught them these lessons. The brickmaker watches the sled begin its slow journey towards storage areas near the village. The wooden runners scrape softly against the earth. Dust rises behind them. The sound fades gradually into the distance. More bricks leaving the drying fields. More bricks beginning the next stage of their journey. The river sparkles beside them. Its surface now reflects deeper shades of gold. The color changes almost minute by minute. As the sun lowers, the entire landscape transforms. The fields glow warmly. The mud brick homes in the distance seem almost golden. Even the dust along the roads catches the light. Ancient Egypt often looks its most beautiful during these hours. The heat eases. The air softens. The world slows. Birds become increasingly active near the reeds. Small groups flutter above the water. Others settle into the marshes. Their calls drift through the evening air. The sounds create a gentle backdrop for the workers. Nothing loud. Nothing distracting. Just another layer in the familiar music of the riverbank. The brickmaker bends to inspect several bricks drying near the edge of the field. One has developed a small crack. He studies it quietly. The crack is not severe. Perhaps the brick will still be useful. Perhaps not. Such things happen. No batch is perfect. The earth follows its own rules. Workers can guide the process. They cannot control every outcome. There is wisdom in accepting this. Many aspects of life teach the same lesson. The river floods when it chooses. The weather changes without permission. Crops succeed or fail. People do their best. The rest belongs to forces larger than themselves. The afternoon continues fading toward evening. The sunlight grows richer. The shadows stretch farther. The workers become more aware of their tiredness. Not because the labor is increasing. Because the body is beginning to relax. When the end of the day approaches, fatigue often becomes easier to notice. The brickmaker feels it in his legs. He feels it in his shoulders. His hands ache faintly from shaping bricks and carrying baskets. Yet the tiredness is accompanied by satisfaction. The drying grounds are full. The day's effort is visible everywhere. Rows upon rows of bricks cover the earth. Evidence of work completed. Evidence of time spent well. A few workers exchange quiet conversation while gathering tools. Their voices remain low. The topics are familiar. Family matters. Village news. Plans for tomorrow. Simple things. The kinds of conversations shared between people who have spent years working side by side. There is comfort in such familiarity. The workers know one another's habits. They know one another's strengths. They understand the rhythm of each other's lives. The sun inches lower. The western horizon begins glowing with deeper shades of amber. The river mirrors those colors perfectly. The entire world seems bathed in warm light. Even the drying bricks appear almost luminous. The brickmaker pauses once more and looks across the fields. Thousands of bricks rest quietly beneath the evening sky. Thousands of small pieces of earth transformed through patience and labor. The sight fills him with a calm sense of purpose. Tomorrow there will be more work. There is always more work. But today has been productive. Today has added something useful to the world. That is enough. The breeze continues moving through the reeds. The birds continue singing near the water. The river continues its endless journey toward distant horizons. And beneath the soft golden light of the descending sun, the workers carry out the final hours of their day, surrounded by fields of drying bricks that quietly hold the effort, patience, and steady endurance of countless human hands. The sun drifts lower still. Now it hangs well above the western horizon, but its long journey toward evening is unmistakable. The fierce brightness of midday has softened into something gentler. Golden light spills across the drying grounds and settles over every brick, every basket, every footprint left in the dust. The workers move through this light quietly. The day has reached that special hour when fatigue and relief exist together. Their bodies are tired. Their shoulders are heavy. Their hands are sore. Yet evening is close enough to feel. The brickmaker walks slowly between long rows of drying bricks. His sandals brush softly against the earth. The ground beneath him still holds warmth gathered throughout the day. Every step releases faint traces of dust. The rows stretch in every direction. Some bricks were shaped only hours ago. Others have spent days beneath the Egyptian sun. Each row tells a slightly different story. Some are dark and damp. Others are pale and hardened. Together they represent many days of labor layered one beside another. The brick maker pauses beside a section drying particularly well. The bricks are straight, evenly spaced, firm to the touch. A quiet satisfaction settles over him. There is no applause for work like this. No celebration. No reward beyond the work itself. Yet people often find pride in simple things done well. A straight row. A strong brick. A finished task. These small accomplishments carry meaning. Nearby, several workers gather unused straw. The dry stalks rustle softly as they are bundled together. Nothing is wasted. Tomorrow the straw will be needed again. The workers understand the value of every material. Everything requires effort to collect. Everything serves a purpose. The afternoon breeze strengthens slightly. It moves across the river and over the fields. The reeds sway gently. Palm leaves whisper overhead. The workers welcome the cooling air. Sweat dries more quickly now. The heat no longer feels overwhelming. One man lifts his face toward the breeze and closes his eyes for a moment. No words are necessary. The feeling speaks for itself. Along the shoreline, fishermen are beginning to return. Small boats move steadily toward familiar docks and riverbanks. The day's fishing is nearly finished. Soon the fishermen will clean their nets and head home. Their routines are different from those of the brick makers. Yet both groups share something important. Their lives follow the rhythm of the river. The Nile shapes everything. The hours of work. The seasons. The food. The building materials. The river is never far from any thought. The brick maker bends to lift a partially dried brick. The weight feels familiar. He turns it carefully and places it back down. Then moves to the next one. The repetitive motion continues. Lift. Turn. Place. Move forward. Again. And again. The task requires patience more than strength. Patience has become one of the most valuable skills in his life. Years of labor teach patience naturally. The earth cannot be hurried. The river cannot be hurried. The sun cannot be hurried. One learns to move with time rather than against it. A pair of birds settles near the edge of the drying grounds. They hop between rows of bricks, searching for insects. The workers barely notice. Birds have always shared these spaces. The birds seem completely comfortable among the human activity. For generations they have watched people shape mud beside the river. The brick maker smiles faintly as one bird balances atop a finished brick. The tiny creature appears proud of its perch. A moment later it flies away. The smile remains. Small moments like this brighten long days. The sky begins changing color again. Blue remains overhead, but warmer tones gather near the horizon. Hints of amber. Hints of gold. The first suggestion of evening. The workers sense it immediately. The approaching sunset affects everyone. Not because it changes the labor. Because it changes how the labor feels. Tasks that seemed endless at midday now appear manageable. The end is visible. The day's work has shape. The brick maker hears distant sounds drifting from the village. A donkey calling. Children playing. Voices carrying through the air. The village is beginning its evening routines. Meals will soon be prepared. Water jars will be filled. Families will gather. The thought creates a quiet warmth inside him. Home is not far away. A few more hours. Perhaps less. The drying grounds glow beautifully in the lowering sunlight. Long shadows stretch between the rows. The bricks appear almost sculpted by light. Their edges become sharper. Their textures more visible. The entire landscape seems calmer. Even the workers' voices grow softer. A group of older laborers sits briefly beneath a shelter. They drink water and watch the river. Their conversation is slow and easy. Nobody rushes. The most demanding part of the day has passed. The brickmaker joins them for a few moments. He lowers himself carefully onto the ground. His knees appreciate the rest. His back relaxes. The simple act of sitting feels wonderful. One worker points toward a boat moving downstream. Another comments on the weather. Someone mentions a relative in a nearby village. The topics drift gently from one to another. Like the river itself. Nothing urgent. Nothing dramatic. Just ordinary people sharing ordinary thoughts at the end of a long day. After a short rest, they rise again. The final tasks await. Tools must be organized. Materials must be covered. Rows must be checked one last time. The workers return to their duties with quiet determination. The brickmaker walks slowly across the drying fields. The sunlight now falls at a low angle. The warmth of evening replaces the intensity of afternoon. Birdsong grows more frequent. The breeze becomes cooler. The river shines like polished bronze. Every sign points toward night. Yet the work site remains active. Not busy in the way it was during morning hours. Busy in a calmer way. A winding down sort of activity. The kind that prepares everything for tomorrow. Tomorrow will arrive soon enough. The workers know this. Another dawn. Another walk to the river. Another day of mixing mud and shaping bricks. The cycle never truly ends. Yet there is comfort in its predictability. The brickmaker finds reassurance in routine. He knows what tomorrow will ask of him. He knows where he belongs. He knows the feel of mud beneath his feet and sunlight upon his shoulders. These familiar things create stability. The sun lowers closer to the horizon. The light grows richer by the minute. Golden colors deepen toward amber. The river reflects every shade. The village beyond the fields begins glowing softly in the distance. And among thousands of bricks resting beneath the evening sky, the workers continue their final tasks with patient hands and tired bodies, while the ancient world slowly prepares itself for another peaceful night beside the Nile. Now the sun has slipped beyond the western horizon. The last golden light fades slowly from the fields. The rows of drying bricks remain where they have rested all day, still and quiet beneath the deepening evening sky. The workers have gone home. The baskets have been set aside. The wooden molds wait patiently for another morning. No footsteps cross the drying grounds now. No voices drip through the air. Only the soft sounds of the river remain. The brickmaker walks the familiar path back to his village. The heat of the day has finally loosened its grip. A gentle breeze moves through the reeds along the Nile. Palm trees sway softly against a sky turning from blue to violet. One by one, small lamps begin to glow inside mud brick homes. The smell of evening meals drifts through the narrow streets. Fresh bread. Warm grain. Simple food prepared after a long day of labor. Children settle beside their families. Neighbors exchange quiet words before night. Animals rest in their shelters. The village slowly becomes calm. The brickmaker sits outside his home for a little while. His muscles are tired. His hands are rough. his shoulders carry the memory of many years spent lifting, shaping, and building. Yet tonight, like countless nights before, there is peace in the simple ending of a day's work. Across the river, darkness gathers gently. The water reflects the first stars appearing overhead. Small ripples shimmer in the moonlight. The Nile continues its endless journey through the land. Patient, steady, unchanging. The same river that provided the mud. The same river that fed the fields. The same river that quietly watched over every hour of the day. The brick fields now rest beneath the night sky. Thousands of bricks lie in neat rows, cooling beneath the stars. Tomorrow they will continue drying. Tomorrow new bricks will be made. Tomorrow another ordinary day will begin. But tonight, everything is still. The workers sleep. The fishermen sleep. The farmers sleep. The potters, bakers, builders, and scribes sleep. The entire village settles into silence. Above them, countless stars stretch across the heavens. The moon rises slowly over the river. Its pale light touches rooftops, reeds, pathways, and fields. The world seems softer beneath its glow. Quieter. Gentler. Far from kings and monuments, far from the stories carved into stone, ordinary people rest within the homes they built with their own hands. The earth that became bricks now shelters sleeping families. The labor of the day has become comfort for the night. And so, beside the calm waters of the Nile, beneath a sky filled with stars, the ancient village drifts peacefully into darkness. The river flows. The breeze moves through the reeds. The night deepens. And little by little, the sounds of the world grow softer. And softer. Until only the quiet rhythm of the river remains. Until only the stillness of the ancient night remains. Until everything rests beneath the stars. Crescent moon.